Hi everybody, Albert here from Our Kilowatt Hours, a Substack newsletter where we discuss cultural ephemera, mostly underground music. You can find all my stuff at ourkilowatthours.substack.com. I'm here with a second video about print media. So today for show and tell, I've got INCITE fanzine here. I think this is the first fanzine I ever owned or read. I picked it up at In Your Ear Records, a really cool basement record store in Cambridge, Massachusetts, right next to Harvard Square. It was free. I think they were always free. It was also not this particular issue. It looks like this one was mailed to my college dorm. INCITE was written almost solely by Tim Alborn from 1985 to 1998. He ran Harriet Records, an influential label in the indie pop scene. They put out a lot of landmark material, like the first magnetic field 7-inch records by Crayon from Bellingham, Washington. That band imploded and became Tullycraft, which is a little more well known. Sean from those groups had his project Sixth Sense and Natalie, doing lo-fi bedroom synth pop style, which I really dug. And Wimp Factor 14, I think, was another bigger name on the label. I tried really hard to like them, but didn't quite get there. They then turned into the band Vehicle Flips, which was kind of more conventional indie rock style. And the Ampersands I remembered from Melbourne, Australia, that I thought were really cool. But yeah, tons of records on that label. Tim, interestingly, was a faculty member at Harvard University, where he got his undergrad and doctorate degrees in history, which is to say he's a wicked smart guy. I just checked online, and it looks like he became Dean of Arts and Sciences at Lehman College, one of the CUNY colleges in New York, near Westchester, later in the 2000s. So just a superlatively accomplished high-level academic. I exchanged a few letters and postcards with him as I went through high school and then college, but nothing too crazy. And just a tangent here about pen pals. Now that I think about it, I had a lot of them. I was handwriting a ton of really involved, prolonged letters and sending packages back and forth. And that was really great. Talk about some old people, 1900s type shit that no kid is engaging in today. For me, being a pretty introverted, awkward kid, that provided, I think, a really profound sense of connection and, a cool venue for self-reflection as I was moving through my adolescence. As we revive the antiquated stuff like vinyl, cassettes, and paper zines, how about writing letters again? When you're faced with the vacuum of an empty page, you'd be amazed at what your brain will fill up the space with. Anyway, I moved to Boston in 1998, which is apparently right when Tim wound up Harriet and moved away to Tacoma, Washington. Though I think my bandmates knew of him, he was apparently thought of by some as a kind of character. He would show up to these twee shows in a black leather jacket and be pumping his fists, while others were taking the more, too cool for school, arms crossed kind of stance. I didn't personally witness this. This is just hearsay. So some extremely hot gossip there, as it were. But back to INCITE, the fanzine had, I think, epistolary qualities, like getting a really involved letter, which is maybe why it resonated so strongly with me. It's not really of the personal kind of perzine diary style, which I feel is a completely different concept. This is more like a major music fan, just telling you about all the exciting things they're hearing, the idiosyncratic details they pick up on, and then tying it all together in an interesting way. Issues also had some cool themes. This one is libraries and has a feature at the end interviewing some indie rockers employed as librarians. I went and ordered a ton of stuff, so records, zines, and the like, just on mention in INCITE, as it had a way of making the world of underground music seem just so connected and fascinating. Now, I have some misgivings about sharing this kind of content, as I don't like the idea of gatekeeping, and at the same time don't really know how to share the experience of a rare fanzine. Maybe I'll scan them or something. But there's a really cool exception here in that with INCITE, Tim has digitized all 30 issues, which is just fucking great. And I'll share the link in the description and on my page. The final issue, number 30, gives a nice first-person history of Harriet Records and a coda as he ends up the label or winds up the label. I'm personally digging in and catching up with issues I missed. It's really cool to see the progression. The London Review of Books also had a cool article about the fanzine, and I'll also link that up. So thanks so much for your attention. If you like this kind of stuff, subscribe to the Substack, check out the older posts, and I'll be getting through more stuff like this in the near future. Ciao.